no fancy edits, no crazy cuts, no hyper graphics. So if you've got the attention span of a goldfish, this video is probably not for you. So that being said, we're going to do what we always do, make a coffee, drop some valuable information from my life notes. And I actually want to talk about a couple things today while going about my day. And the first thing I actually want to talk about is like this whole raw edit, unfiltered kind of meta that's happening right now. I kind of seen it happen to the tail end of last year, maybe like November, December time. But I was like, right, let me just continue hitting the business hard for the rest of the year. And then as soon as we hit that new year, I'm going to go hard on this like content game. And the reason that I wanted to do it is because I think content is missing that authenticity and that realness. And so like when I seen people like Sam Sulek do really well with like this whole raw content thing that's going on, I was like, this kind of makes sense, you know, because we've been in this like weird sort of like space where you've got the hyper edited Alex Hormozy like type edits going everywhere, the motion graphics, the fast cuts, the music, like the hooks and all this like crazy, like over the top, like dopamine spiking content. And then when I seen Sam blow, I was like, this kind of makes sense because it's almost like history always repeats itself. And it's almost like people are just sick and tired of this. Like people are just getting tired of it. Like there's only so much fucking like fast motion graphic edits you can watch with just completely frying your brain. And that's what I think social media is doing. Like I was kind of sad because I felt like social media lost our authenticity that they once had. Like I really missed like I grew up in the era of like Casey Neistat vlogs, like BF vs GF vlogs, like prank versus prank, like Roman Atwood, like all these people. And all these people that would like vlog their life and do all these things. And it used to be so insightful to be like almost spending a day with like your favorite online creator. And it was like so like raw and authentic and real because there wasn't as many cuts. And it just felt like you was on, you know, sometimes if it was like Casey Neistat talking direct to camera, it feels like you're almost on a call with them. And it's like, there's no cuts or hyper edited. And I think we really are missing that now. And so I think the tide's massively turning and people realize that. And a lot of people are capitalizing on it just to capitalize on it, which I think is a smart business move. But I think those people will also burn out if they're like faking this raw, authentic life to capitalize on like a trend, because I think this is going to be like the next meta, the next trend. So like if you do want to take advantage of it, I would highly recommend like at least testing it out, make some raw videos and just be you. But a lot of people I don't think are going to be able to get over the fact of like caring what people think. And I feel like I'm at a blessed enough point to where I've done really well for myself. I'm pretty successful at a young age. And I've kind of got over that whole like really caring about what others think and looking like that cool guy online that has all these women and all these fancy cars and all these fancy things and really caring what people think of me. And I'm kind of over that. So I think this is almost like fell on my lap at the perfect time, that social media is almost like going backwards and history is repeating himself, to where that raw, authentic content of actually connecting with people and being real is what's working. And it's so nice to see, because like I was in this stage of like, I hated making content because it felt like a chore. Like I was like, right, I love providing value to people, and I love giving insights to people. And like I said, I frame all these videos, and I when I speak to people, I always think of like, what's the thing that I could tell my younger self? And if I could tell my younger self something, it would be to, if you're watching this video right now, like hop on this raw, authentic stuff, start documenting, like just start documenting the journey. Because I was in this stage where I would like go to sit down to create content, and I was like, it's this whole fucking process. Like I've got to think of this I like added down to a science where I was like, right, I've got to sit down, I've got to script all these videos for the week, and they've got to be scripted, and they've got to be organized in a certain way, and the thumbnail and the title we've got to create first, and then the hook, and everything needs to match, and the hook needs to match the expectation of the thumbnail and the title, and we have to come up with really good ideas and take ages to film. And it was just a fucking show. And I was like, I actually can't manage this content creation game while actually running two businesses. It's not possible. So I used to just put it off, and I used to just not create content as much as I could have. And now I feel like this turn's coming back. It's like, well, I've got infinite amount of things on my mind that I can just turn a camera on now and talk and don't have to worry about going and getting edited and coming up with a thumbnail and coming up with an idea and having super scripted stuff to make people stick till the end and having all these retention hacks and making sure I'm saying, you know, use the 3 things and I'm going to show the last thing at the end and blah, blah, blah. Like, that shit's just so fake and bullshit to me that I fucking hate it. And while that still does work and it will continue to work, if I come up with those types of videos and I decide to film maybe 1 year in there, like, it's just not real, right? Yeah, you can get, like, the only reason that I'm still considering doing those types of videos, like, more sparingly, is because they do capture more attention, and I don't think we've fully changed yet to where the raw and authentic stuff will work for everyone. And so I think people that have already built an audience, it will work for them very well. Like, this raw and authentic stuff, like, you know, if people like Iman Gadzi decide to just go and start doing like raw uncut videos, they'll do really well. It's going to be slightly harder for people who have no audience, like myself, who doesn't have such a big audience. And so, like, that's why I'm still debating doing those like more viral type videos as well, just to get attention on this type of content, because I think this type of content is where the value is. But sadly, most people's attention span's fried, and you are competing with all these like all these other really hyper edited good thumbnails, and so like it's hard to like stand out. So yeah, that's like this whole raw meta that's going on. I would say take advantage of it and really do it, because we're in a world of fake influencers buying fake things, faking their life. And I just think like this just shows a realness. Like, I've showed you guys my life every single day for the last 20 days now. And so like you can just see how it is that I live 90% of the time. Whereas if I wasn't doing this, everyone's just assuming that I'm on a yacht in Mykonos with a bunch of girls, I'm driving supercars in Dubai, popping bottles at the club, because that's what I was doing on Instagram for the longest. Was I would post this stuff because that's where I was living that way for a long time. Like all last year, I spent all last year traveling and like living this fake life for social media. Like, I would only travel and be like, yeah, I can use it for marketing. I'll go, and I wasn't even doing it to be authentically me. Most of the places I went, most of the things I did, like renting supercars in Dubai, all this sort of shit, popping bottles at the club, just wasting money in a club, wasn't even authentically me. I was purely doing it because I cared what other people thought about me. And it took this whole like content rawness to come around for me to really be like, I just don't give a fuck anymore what people think. Like, I just really do not give a fuck. And I actually think it was like the passing of my dog, which, as crazy as it sounds, made me realize it, because I was like, life's short. And it just made me realize that life's short, and it just made me realize, like, just start being you. If people fuck with you, they fuck with you, that's great. If people don't fuck with you, that's fine. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And so, like, that's where I'm at with these like raw, authentic videos, and I just want to be as real as possible. Like, don't get me wrong, over this next year, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, and I'm going to try and document as much of that as I can, because I just want to, like I said, a lot of the reason I'm doing this as well is to document it for my 80-year-old self. So I think this raw style of content can work really well, and so this is more of a long-term play for me. And yeah, I just think, like, if you're watching this video, you should start documenting your life. You should start, like, it's the easiest way to film content around your life. Like, I can just stick the camera on while I'm on a call and people will get value from it. I can just stick the camera on when I'm like going to make a cup of coffee like I am now, or when I got a bit of free time in the mornings, right? And like, I can just give some value. And so like, I think that's really important. And I'm having a lot of fun creating these content, and I generally think I could do this for the next 10, 20, 30 years, like that crazily. Now, maybe not every single day for 20, 30 years, but I could create a fuck ton. And like, I've obviously made the commitment to myself to create at least one video every single day for the rest of the year. And so like, I would challenge you to just start documenting. It doesn't matter where you're at. You don't have to be in the position I'm in. Like, I wish I had stopped caring what other people thought about when I was 18, 19, 20 and just documented that whole process of when I was completely broke. I've got little like Snapchat videos of me saying I'm going to be this and that. And then I did end up accomplishing it. But like, I just wish I was more raw and authentic there. But at the end of the day, you can't go back, because I needed to learn that lesson, and you can't just be perfect at that moment in time, right? Like, I wasn't a personally developed person. Like, you don't become successful until you you go on that journey. And so I had to go on that journey, but it would have been sick to just like document it to show everyone what it was like when I was making no money, and what it was like when I made my first bit of money, and what it was like when I hit my first 10K a month, and what it was like when I hit my first 50K, 100K a month. Because like you guys are almost only seeing it now when I'm at a significant stage where, you know, I am young, I'm 22 years old and making 7 figures, but I wish I could have had the stage of, I wish I could have had more documentation around when I actually was coming up. You know, growing up with a single mom, in the valleys, in Wales, growing up in a fucking 2-bedroom flat, and just never really having anything, and like working a regular job, like doing 80+ hours every single week at Dale Maintenance Company, getting up at 5 a.m., going home at like 7 p.m. some nights, and just like really grafting away while trying all these different businesses and trying to learn all these different skills, and just like working myself to the bone in every aspect, with all the other crazy shit that was happening at the time. And so like, that would have been sick to look back on. Like my 80-year-old self would have loved to have seen like young Dylan, even though I'm young, but like 18, 19, 20-year-old Dylan, like going through that journey. But I can't go back, right? I can live those thoughts in my head, which is great, but it would have been amazing for everyone else to see, so you could resonate. And if you're at the start of your journey right now, like don't feel lost, because you generally can make it out the other side, because I'm literally living proof. And so like, that's something that is would have been cool. But regardless, I think this raw, authentic content kind of thing is really good. I'm really enjoying making this type of content, and I would advise you to do the same thing, and just don't give a fuck what other people think. And that's harder to do than like, not caring about what other people think is harder than me just telling you not to care about what other people think, because I should have stopped caring. Like, I still cared what people thought about 9 months ago. So like, I'm not the best person, but I've truly like just, I'm done with that side of things now. I've done a lot of inner work, and I kind of change as a person every 6 months. And so like, the one thing that really resonated with me to stop caring about what other people think is other people's opinions of you die the moment that you die, or the moment that they die. So why are you living for people's opinions that die the same exact moment that you die, or die the same exact moment that they die? It doesn't matter. And so like, and there's also that part where you feel like maybe everyone's watching you from your Instagram stories and social media, or you feel like everyone is invested in you, but the harsh reality is most people don't give a fuck about anything other than themselves. And so like, yeah, they might have a giggle about you because you've made yourself look stupid online when you put your first video out and it sucked, but like, it doesn't matter. Like, their opinions stop mattering the same moment that they die, and they're gonna forget about it probably a day later. And so like, it really doesn't matter. You've got, and the only way to get past that stage is to put yourself out there and to just start doing. And so I don't want to sound like Gary Vee saying like, you gotta create content because content's the future and you gotta have attention. I don't want to be like Gary Vee, but I think the world is going to be run by synthesizers. What does that mean? Synthesizers are people that take in information, they learn, they then like write that information, like, you know, they take it in, they put that information, you know, in their notes, and then they relay that information to the rest of the world, right? So let's just say I go and buy a program and I pay $10,000 for this online program. I go through that entire program and it takes me 6 months. It's a 6-month program, right? Once I've done that, I now have all this new information, all this knowledge that could help a ton of other people. I then go online and create a video about everything I've just learned, and I put it in an hour video or a 2-hour video. And it's then like, I've spent 50 hours in this past 6 months learning this stuff, and I've given it to you guys, and you can learn exactly what I've just learned in 2 hours. That's where a synthesizer is, right? You're synthesizing information. And so like, I think we're drowning in information. We're in a world where we're drowning for information while starving for wisdom. And so if you can provide wisdom and the insights that you learn throughout your daily life, if you're on this journey, it can provide a ton of value to people. And it doesn't just have to be entrepreneurs or business people or mindset people. It can be anyone. Like I use this analogy a lot, but it could be the janitor. The janitor could, you know, start documenting his life as a janitor and picking it and telling people about his experience and telling the things that he's learned in his life. And maybe the mistakes he's made and maybe stuff he'd potentially wish he'd done differently, or maybe that he's extremely happy and fulfilled being a janitor and that's all he ever wanted was to just be a really good dad. And so like I think I would enjoy watching that video. Like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to learn to make money from it, but money isn't the end all be all. And we're in a world where I feel like that concept is like lost and everyone just thinks it's all about making as much money as possible, and everyone's chasing this thing that's abundant and everyone's chasing this thing that really doesn't matter, and they're chasing it because they think that's what's going to make them happy and fulfilled, but in reality it's really not the end all be all. And so like the biggest issue with that then is a lot of people that do inevitably end up getting money, they make money their personality. And that's one thing I almost fell into, and I'm so glad I didn't, because that's like the most obnoxious thing ever. Like when you make money your personality, when you make flex in your personality, it's just so draining. Like you just it doesn't do anyone any favors but your own ego, and you're just literally just signaling that maybe you're a bit insecure, and you know, you're just trying to tell everyone that you're better than them, and it's just like perpetuating this toxic like environment where now all these young kids that are coming up think that they should be where you're at, or you have a 20-year-old that's making $1 million on the internet, or so he says, and now you have another 20-year-old that's like in a job and trying to make it, and he thinks that he's far behind and he thinks he should be where that person's at, but that's just not how it works. And it has such a negative effect on that society and community of entrepreneurs in general, because all these entrepreneurs now have this instant gratification of wanting to make money fast. And even when I tell people like, look, you've got to be willing to stick to this journey for like a minimum of 5 years. And if you can stick at this journey for 5 years and be happy to make no money or little money throughout that 5 years, then we can have a conversation, and then maybe you can start getting a bit of money and start making some money and start making some waves and start changing people's lives. But if you're not willing to stick at it for that 5 years, then this path isn't for you. And people can't accept that reality, so they just chase. And like I said, there's always those rare scenarios, just like there's a 7'1" big man in the NBA that's super athletic, that's just better than everyone, right? There's always those rare scenarios where you do have a kid that, like, for example, Iman Gadzi, that just does go and make a ton of money and is this viral sensation. But that's very rare. And so the issue is because that's all you see on social media is the highlight reels, and because that's all you see is the hyper successful people, everyone thinks that's how they should be, and everyone thinks that's how the rest of the world is. But in reality, if you look at your own town, probably 99% of the people around you in your age group in your town are probably working regular jobs, or probably still in school, or probably have no aspirations to want to be successful. But as soon as you come on Instagram and you enter this new world, success, Lamborghini, Bugatti, holiday with models, boom, 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 and you're just bombarded, and then you're like, you get thrown out of reality, and that's not reality, guys. Like, that's not reality. And so that's why I want to make this series and just document my entire journey and just show people what it's actually like being an entrepreneur. Because maybe you think you want to be an entrepreneur and make money, but maybe that's not even the right life path. It's just you've been almost manipulated by all these gurus saying that's what you should do. But you should do what's authentic to yourself. If that's going and being a musician, if that's going and working as a therapist or working with animals or wherever it is, then you need to do you for you, because otherwise you're going to get to the end of your life and just live in complete regret. And so this raw side, the reason why this raw, like, authentic content, the reason why it does so well is because we're in a fake world. We're in a world where you have all these fake influencers flexing, and people are looking to connect with those raw, authentic people because there's no competition, because no one wants to be raw and authentic on the internet. No one wants to risk making a fool of themselves. No one wants to risk saying something they shouldn't have said. But the people that do are going to see the biggest benefits. And so I would highly just recommend start documenting your life, documenting your journey. Whether you never even put the videos out, just start documenting, just start talking to the camera. And because if you don't even put the videos out, at least when you're 60, 70, 80 years old, you can go back and watch the videos and relive those years, right? And I think it's just going to be like, I just think it's this amazing thing. And I'm really inspired by this whole like new raw and authentic content movement. And it just like really, really excites me. And I really want to be like one of the movers in this space. And I hope that if you watch this video, like, you can help me get there and just spread this positive message and just have this impact on a younger generation and explain that, you know, you don't have to be rich in 1 year. It's okay to fail and not go anyway. That's at least true for me. It took me 3 years before I even made any type of money online. I just failed. And Trust me, 3 years might not sound like a lot when I'm saying it, but when you're in that game, 3 years feels like a long time when you're just trying every single day to make money and nothing's working. So I've been there if that's where you're at, and I resonate with that. If you ever want a conversation, just drop me a message on Instagram. I'm always responding as much as I can. I just want to build a really solid community of really good people that just understand that personal development's super important, that mindset's super important, that being authentic to themselves is super important, and just living for them, no one but themselves. And then you got to help yourself first to help others. So go and focus on helping yourself and then help the others around you, right? Because if you don't help yourself first, it's going to be very difficult to actually have an impact and help the others around you, right? And so, yeah, that's how I wanted to start this day. I'm going to make a coffee. And yeah, we'll just see how the day goes. But yeah, just going to go make a coffee and yeah. So I didn't film a lot today. It's currently 5 a.m. I've just been working flat out. But I wanted to end this video on a really important note. And as you guys know that watch me, I've been watching this series, I've been watching my YouTube videos. A lot of you guys know I like to write and I like to have a section on my phone called Life's Notes. And I like to speak to my younger self, give advice to my younger self. And I've just been sat here thinking for the last 20 minutes, like, how could I give my younger self the most amount of value? How did he feel? I was putting myself back in that situation. And I just remember like it feeling really lonely because no one believes in you. Like you tell your parents or your family and your friends you're going to do all these things, but no one really believes you, and that's okay. And so like I want you to know that that's okay. Like they're not going to believe you. They're going to think you're crazy. They're going to think you're living on a pipe dream, and that's fine. You've just got to stick with the journey. And see, with entrepreneurship, you don't get handed an instant paycheck like you do in a job. You know, if you go out and get a job, next week you get a paycheck. The week after, you get a paycheck. Entrepreneurship doesn't work like that. So with entrepreneurship, you might not get a paycheck for 3 years, but in that third year, you're like, holy shit, I just made 10K. And you show your parents and they're like, whoa, how the fuck did you make 10K? And then that's when you say you're going to do all this crazy stuff, but it doesn't happen for a long time and people don't understand that. And so like everyone around you is just going to think you're being a bum and you're not doing anything because they don't see these instant results, but you're getting better, you're getting mentally stronger. So don't let those people bring you down and give up. And so I just remember being like 3 years in on the cusp of breaking through. And for that entire 3-year period, everyone was ripping me down. Everyone was saying I was crazy. Everyone was saying, isn't it time to pack it in now and go and get a job or go to university, blah, blah, blah. So if that's you right now, don't give up. And you'll get out on the other side and you will make that first bit of money and you will see a first bit of success and you'll achieve some of the things you set out to and you'll achieve some of the things that you told people you was going to achieve. And they'll be like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, how? That makes no sense. Like, show me. And it's like, I can't. Like, you have to go through that journey, right? And so they don't understand. And that's when you have people asking you, how do I make money? How do I do this? And it's like, well, you got to go through this 3-year journey that I've been on that you thought I was just messing around and doing nothing. But I've actually been working towards this for the last 3 years. And so people don't understand that because you're doing something big. And if you don't have people that are hating on you or calling you crazy or telling you to give up, then you're probably not doing something big enough with your life, right? And so the point of that is I just remember how lonely it felt and it really hit a chord with me. And so if you do feel alone on your journey right now, just know that the road to success is a very lonely road. It's a dark road. Though the other road, the road that everyone's on, is well lit, right? It's the navigation equipment works. There's a bunch of lights on that road, right? Directions are easy. You know exactly where you're going. You're in a Tesla or an autopilot, right? And that's the road that everyone's on. But the road to success is a dark road, right? There's tons of stop signs. There's potholes. There's crazy turns. God, the navigation equipment probably doesn't work. You have no idea where you're going. You're probably in some beat up old Toyota and damn, sometimes there's even crashes, right? Where you're just on the side of the road, you're completely lost, you have no idea where you're going, and you're just like, you just feel overwhelmed. And you're like, I don't even know what to do. I don't know where I'm going. But that means you're on the right road. That is what the road to success looks like. It's not going to be the same as the well-lit road with everyone cruising on autopilot in Teslas with directions, knowing exactly where they're going. It's gonna be this crazy journey of ups and downs and hills and potholes and turns and flat tires, and like it's just gonna be this wild journey. And if you stick to that journey to the end, that's where you see the bright light at the end of that road, and that's where success is, and that means you're on the right road. So if that's you right now, please stick to that road. If there's one piece of advice I could have given my younger self when he felt lonely, when he was doubting himself, whether he didn't know if he could become successful, this is the one video I would love him to watch, because if he'd given up, I wouldn't have the life I have now. And I am happier, I am more fulfilled, I am just living a life that I used to dream of. And my life's not perfect, don't get me wrong. There's tons of stuff that's wrong. I'm not the perfect person. I'm still working on the fulfillment side of things, but I'm a lot more fulfilled than I was. And so like, I think this is a work in progress. And this is why I want to start this channel, because I want to share my lessons and my work in progress with you guys, right? And see, people think success is just purely achievement, but it's not. And that's where I realized, like, over this journey, is I always just thought success was about achieving. Or also people think that success is like purely fulfillment, right? So it's like you have some people that think success is just purely achievement. Some people think it's fulfillment. And I used to think it's just purely achievement. Like, the more money I make, that means the more successful I am. When I actually started to make money and get to and level up and become more personally developed and become more self-aware, I realized that success is not achievement or fulfillment. You need both. And so for me, like, the definition of success is achievement plus fulfillment. And there's a quote, I don't know who said it, and I'll probably butcher the quote, but it talks about achievement. There's a science. So there's a science to achievement, right? Your step-by-step plan. There's a science to achievement. But fulfillment is an art. And so, like, mastering an art is more difficult than a science in terms of achievement, right? And so, like, achievement, there's a science to it, so you can achieve it, but fulfillment's like a different thing. Like, fulfillment's on a personal level. So there's not like a blueprint to fulfillment. So, like, I'm trying to still figure that out myself, and hopefully I can bring you guys on this journey and we can try and find out what the answer to fulfillment is. But that's like where I'm at. Like, I kind of want to master that art of fulfillment. I think it is true that there is a science to achievement, and I am very driven by achievement. But I think to have happiness and to feel successful, you need both pieces of the puzzle. So success is not monetary. Success is not having a Lamborghini. Success is not having a fancy house. Success is not having a number in the bank account or whatever. None of that materialistic bullshit, right? Success is achievement plus fulfillment. And I'm still working on the fulfillment side of the thing. And I've still got tons more things to achieve. And so, like, you guys can experience this journey with me, and we can go on this journey together. And I would love to see you guys document your journey, and you guys share your insights with me. Like, I would love to watch your guys' videos. Like, I think it would be sick. I think I can learn from everyone. And so far as I have got in terms of thinking about what is fulfillment, probably the best definition I've heard of fulfillment is what Tom Bailey said, the guy that has a big podcast, who said, fulfillment is how you feel about yourself when you're all by yourself. And so I just sat here and thought, like, how do I feel about myself when I'm all by myself? And I've just been sat by myself for the last, like, 2 hours. I've just been thinking, like, how do I feel about myself while I'm all by myself? And I was just sat there deep in thought, and I think I'm, like, so driven by achievement and by financial success and by all these, like, little things, like getting attention and all these things, right? And I think I do it to almost knock, there's definitely, like, things in my life and pains that and trauma, past trauma, that I've not dealt with. And I think I do it to distract myself from them. And so, like, I think I need to go on this journey and confront some of those things in my life. And and so I'll let you know how I get on. But that's like, I just wanted to end the video on that, because the main takeaway I want is, if it feels lonely on your journey right now, you're on the right road, and please, please, please do not give up. So yeah, hopefully that resonates. Hopefully that sticks with you. No matter how hard it is, just please, please stick it out and don't quit, because I promise you it's worth it. It really, really is worth it. And it's the journey that's worth it. It's not the money, it's not the things that come with what you can get and what you can achieve by being a successful entrepreneur. It's the journey that makes you the person. And just like I don't want to know the you that hasn't been through the journey. I don't want to know the you that's had an easy life or a normal life. I want to know the you that's like been on this tough journey, that's been on the dark road, that the road less traveled. I want to know the you that's came out the road less traveled on the other side. I don't want to know the you that's on the light road that everyone else is on in the Tesla on autopilot, living a boring life. I want to know the you that's got the battle scars, because that's the you that's interesting, and that's what makes the best version of you. And so I couldn't imagine, if I had took another path in life, how I would think, how I would be. I just could not imagine not being where I'm at. And I'm just so glad that little voice inside me was stronger than all the outside external voices and forces that were pushing against me to not become successful and to not do what I wanted to do and be authentically me. And so that's kind of the point of this video, is just be authentically you. If you want to do something and it does feel lonely and it does feel shitty and it is hard, just stick to it, because nothing easy is worth doing, right? Like the reason it's hard is because it's worth it on the other side. And so, yeah, welcome to the road less traveled, my friend. And I'm excited to see when you come on the other side. So yeah, hopefully that helps. And yeah, see you at the top.